Welcome to Thursday Night Fights with Moss Guild. Right here you're going to see me as we start. I'm going to do a quick switcheroo of my skills. I'm going to go down to my Condi QB because we don't have many incoming, so I'm going to go from healing to DPS just to burn this lord down. And this is a raid build that I have on here that I can quick jump to and watch the DPS fly. I'm going to hit about just over 20k DPS on this boss. So it just shows how quickly you can help melt bosses. Look at his health go down. Imagine if we were all running those raid builds. So if you can do that for your squad, that's a good thing to do, is just switch on the fly to a high DPS build when you're not worried about peeps coming in. Okay, here we are at Blue Garrison, and we just got through the door. We're going to kind of run up to the right here in a second and drop down on top of him. Running Healbrand. I'm not in grid yet. I forgot to swap my upper left to grid so you can see all the boons, but you can at least see them on my bar. We're going to drop down. I'm going to keep stability up, and as we go through this video you're going to notice I start fixing my muscle memory and skill rotation, because if you'd seen that that video I did for the guide for Healbrand for World vs. World Squad Run, you're going to note or remember that when you go into Tome 3, initially when you activate it, it gives you stability. Skill 5 also gives you stability. I used to run go Tome 3, 3, 5, 4, but the problem is if you go 5 off one of the first two skills, you are going to lose some stability time because it doesn't accumulate, it just caps it, so you're kind of overcapping your stability. So now I've been going to Tome 3, 3, 4, 5, or sometimes just Tome 3, and as in every video almost, we find an AFK. That's our AFK award for tonight. We just cleared them out in here. You know how I don't like to see my peeps. I don't like leave allies hanging. I see one of my peeps down here with 2v1 against him, so I'm going to come down and help a brother out. So I don't think he knows I'm here yet. He's just trying to create some distance. I'm trying to help. I'm going to drop a line here. He's going to stop. That's going to give us some space. He's turning around. Now that he sees he's got help. And as we kind of work on these guys and hold them off, we're going to have a couple more of our peeps come in and finish the job. But I don't like to leave allies hanging. You know, LNHB title, leaves no hero behind. And of course, you know I like to run my healers like a fighting build, so that's why I'm using tomes. And if you saw that guide, you know I feel tomes are underused. Alright, here we go. We're at their bay. That's what we're doing, taking over their bay. We're waiting for them to come through the door. We jump down on top of them. This is going to get messy, but we have a lot of downs there, so we see them all going down. That helps. It was a good bomb. We're just going to stack kind of on the top here, and I'm going to use skill 3. I'm going to hopefully get out of that bubble, but I didn't, and I should have done a better job of that, because you see my boons are all almost non-existent, plus they're running other boon rip as well. But the good news about that is you can bring them back up pretty quick as long as not everything's on cooldown. And here we're finishing off the last of the rabble. Alright, what's up next? Oh yes, we are in air. This was kind of interesting. So they're leaving and running up to the mesa, and of course, again, you know I'm going to chase them. I don't like peeps getting away, but I am actually kind of with tag at this point. I know you're all very proud of me. I'm proud of myself, and I think my commander was proud of me as well, because I got his back. And we're going to go up, and then we're going to come up. I'm going to chase these guys all the way to the top, and then see, oops, their whole squad is hanging out up here. And I know I can be pretty brazen sometimes with rushing to this stuff. I do know when I need to back off a bit sometimes. This is one of them. Come back down just a little bit, but too late, everybody else went back up. So I'm going to stay and support the other tag. Our allies Air were also running with us tonight, and I'm going to double dodge up through in a second to get behind him to pester their backline a little bit. I don't know if anybody's going to come up with me or not, but I thought I'd at least try and do a distraction. You can see they're running barrier and of course dome. And I did this too because I know I can jump off and fly, and that's where I'm going right now. The funny part is you're going to see me fall, and you're like, why does it take you so long to open up your glider? Well, I had an issue with my space bar. It almost didn't open at all. So I'm back down here, but it worked out because the rest of my squad is heading up. So I'm going to hop on and join them on the push back to the top. And enemies are still kind of stacked up top, trying to drop AoEs and such, knocking people off and all that. Or at least trying to. And again, we're going to push up. I'm going to push up and around them to the other side, and then you're going to turn around and just start dropping stuff. And I'm hoping I'm at least enough of a distraction for the rest of the allies to come up and push as well. Sometimes you don't need a lot. You just need one to a handful of peeps just to pester someone's backline, enough to sow a little confusion. I was going to come grab that guy, but I don't know if he jumped or got punted. I think he got punted, and that's awesome. So here you see Blue's warning more and more BOONBALL stuff as we go throughout the night. And I should have kept an eye on the tags. I don't know if they swap teams. They do that a lot. Like, it's Friday night now. This was last night, and tonight, even with the relink, saw a lot of BOONBALL stuff. But it's okay. I mean, that's kind of what people are running for meta now. So just bring fine bubbles like that. I noticed this team was running more bubbles tonight as well for themselves, which was good for them and a little bit challenging for us. But I don't think it really messed with us much because we win just about every fight with these guys. Okay, we got the downs, and we're just gonna do stuff. I'm gonna drop some tome fire to help with that. You know how I feel about that, and look at how much that helps. Excuse me. And of course, you also have people trying to get away, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna drop a line in front of him. Boom. Thank you. Slow him down just enough that he can get taken down. So remember, if you're playing Healbrand, use all the skills at your disposal. Okay, you had Blue trying to come in behind us. We're going to kind of circle around up through the wall and then get off the wall and try to push them back into the wall, into their own junk. AoEs, and we're going to just drop our own AoEs around them and just kind of circle a bit and hold. And I need to get out from underneath that bubble. Thank the peeps on our teams for the bubbles. We had a couple Spellbreakers, which was awesome. I might do a guide on Spellbreaker soon. I don't know, I was thinking of that the other day. A Spellbreaker or Scrapper, Heal Scrapper, or both. I don't know, it's something I'm looking at. And that was a good pull. And my man ain't going anywhere. Alright, this was cool. Blue was back. After that fight, we'd open the tower on the Lord. They're coming in. So we're up on top. They're going to veil, come around the corner, and we're going to drop down right in the middle of it and try and disrupt their progress so they can't be all together for boons and such. Let's, kind of limit that, because once they get set up, it's like fighting cockroaches. So you're going to see us to spend a little bit of time trying to pick these guys off one by one out of this ball, so we can start breaking them down. We're going to get a decent burst at one point with a bunch of downs, and that's what really kind of causes them to melt the rest of the way. Okay, you can see a bunch going down. There we go, they're starting. There's another one. There's more. That's the thing with BOONBALL builds. Once you start picking off some of the tails and stuff and getting a couple of the supports, the whole thing collapses like a bad domino pile. Alright, that is the end of that one. So next up, I'm going to jump down. I want to try and slow their momentum. See where that cut is in the tail? That's where I'm going. Try and grab that. Pick away at the tail. The rest of my allies are going to come in from the top on the left. Try and also get a piece of the tail. We're going to get a few right here on the end. They're going to go up the stairs. I could have cut between here and the stairs, but I didn't want to. I want you to see the progression. So we see these guys running, and I start to follow them up, and then I see the rest up there, and that was nope. I'm going to glide down because obviously it's not what I want to run into by myself because this group does have a lot of pulls and immobilizations, which can be quite challenging, especially when they bury the immobilization underneath other condies. So I only clear 1 or 2 at a time, so I can't get to them because they keep laying them on me, so that could be a challenge. Good on them, just challenge for me. Alright, so we're going to go investigate. And then when we get up to top, and come up top and go left around that column, or the garden planter there, yeah, that column to the left. And we're going to use this column and this garden planter as an obstacle for one line of sight too, for these guys to get tripped up on, because you have to jump onto the planter. If you're too worried about skill rotations and moving out of bombs, you might not be aware of that and you get hung up there, and it makes you an easier target. So right there they did that thing with the immob, but I was able to free myself of it. Alright, yeah, we're just gonna continue to pick away at these guys. This is a long fight, and you know, maybe find it boring, but I think one interesting thing to watch is, again, if you're learning Healbrand, I'm not the best at it, but I do okay. And if you're new, this watching kind of how I line up my skills and do these things, I think you might find helpful. And if you're new, check out the guide I did I think last week or earlier this week, that lays out the traits and why you want to dodge roll so often, and why you want to use maybe spear over axe, and some of those things. And interestingly enough, Healbrand can be hard to play correctly at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And like I said in my other video, you know, it is about rotations. It's almost like running a PvE raid at certain points when you kind of get used to how different guilds run. Okay, so now we're going to do some peekaboo on the stairs. Up and down, up and down. But that is good fighting, so props to both sides. And I think I did a relatively good job staying on tag tonight, but that is so hard sometimes, because I just want to go blow them apart. Like we did here, we finally got to get in on them. We're going to circle around a bit. They're going to start getting a little bit separated, and they're not going to be able to keep up with their heals because we also have the dragon banner on them, which you saw, which is dropped, and that's going to help significantly. Alright, here's our push again, up and around. It's one of my favorite things to do if you got someone on stairs or something. Double dodge roll through the top and push them down into their own mess. And also, looks like our sub's the best sub for the most part. You can see that we were running boons pretty solid the whole time, except the one person got pulled and spiked, which happens. But to everybody doing this in the whole squad, because they overlap, great job with healing and boon uptick, and of course DPS was good. And once those bubbles go down, you see now they get all these downs because we've stripped all their boons. That's the other thing, if you can get enough strips on a BOONBALL thing, they just melt, because a lot of their stuff is geared towards boons and not so much as certainly DPS or heavy duty healing. I mean, they have some of that, but once you take away their protection, you can't out heal it. Okay, I believe this is the last fight of the night, or at least in this video. We came in on the emergency waypoint, so Green's trying to take that off of us. We're going to catch a minute and stack up. It's important to be organized. And of course, that breaks line of sight, gives us a chance to catch our breath and assess the situation. Great bubble drop, and you already see them falling, so we're just going to come in here and help add to taking them down. Either way, it was a great run with great people. Great for running with Mossguild. Thanks to our air allies and others that came along. Great night of great fights. Thank you also for watching. Hope this was helpful and entertaining, and hope you all have a most excellent day.